What's going on in the Players Guild? I am your Guildmaster Scott Sedman, and it's 2021. You know what that means. Game reviews. So thanks to Ubisoft for sending out a review copy of Immortals Fenyx Rising to me. 2021 is marking a little bit of a change here at London Players Guild. We're just expanding from card game content to game content in general, and just stuff that any of the London Players Guild alumni like to talk about. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a more inclusive channel. And how reviews will work on this channel, either it's the best X ever or the worst X ever, in this case, video game. And so, without further ado, Immortals Fenyx Rising gets the Hyperbolic review of best game ever. Now, if you want to know why I think that, stick around. If you want just to know whether you should pick it up and play it, there you go. So, let's start with accessibility. Obviously, accessibility is a huge talking point nowadays, and rightfully so. They're not features, they're options. They should be options, and they should be in all AAA titles where applicable. And thankfully, Immortals Fenyx Rising and Ubisoft themselves have done a really good job at making a standardised, or at least somewhat consistent accessibility list across all of their games. So AC Valhalla has a lot of similar accessibility options as Fenyx, and vice versa. It's really good to see, really positive, and I think it helps move the industry forward a lot. So yeah, huge props and thank you to Ubisoft for including those options. And I guess from accessibility we can talk about gameplay. Now, a lot of people draw the comparison between Breath of the Wild, and rightfully so, there is a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild, but I feel like that it's kind of reductive. Whereas, yes, there are elements of Breath of the Wild quite clearly, but this game opens up and becomes its own beast, I feel, and has a lot more charm. That's not a blight on Breath of the Wild. I do love Breath of the Wild, I love Zelda, obviously. But yeah, I think it becomes its own beast, and just comparing it to Breath of the Wild is kind of reductive. But if you need a basis of where the core gameplay mechanics come from, I think you can't go wrong with saying, look, hey, that game, but this has more. It's weird, but that's how I felt. So you have a bunch of Ubisoft options, as in, so you've got a giant map with a great progression system and a bunch of things to do. You can lose yourself in this world. In fact, I spent about 70 hours, maybe minus 2 hours for idle time when I was checking Twitter or something like that. So we can say 65 to 70 hours in this game, and that's huge. I don't have that time anymore. So for me being able to stick into this universe for that long, that's a credit to it, and a huge part of that is the gameplay. The combat is smooth. The mixed match up of the different powers is really fun and really engaging, and I suggest you experiment with them all and not just find the favourite one and continue to spam it. You can do that, and that's totally a viable strategy, but I found that the more I had experimenting was when the game was at its best. So I would use the magnet power to bring myself closer to enemies, then use Ares' spears to lift up and then bring back down with a hammer smash. And there's lots you can do, and I think that's really cool. And the way that exploration and doing these puzzles rewards you for that, so the more health items you pick up, the more health you get, the more Tartarus dungeons you do, the more stamina you get, and it allows you to do more of these combos and crazy cool things. So it's really intuitive, and you want to go and get more of this stuff, and I think that's really genius, is how they handled that. It does feel overwhelming at times, and by the end of the game when I was just like, I have to turn all these mounts to get an achievement, I just kind of gave up on that. But if you are a collector and you want to do that, just look up a guide. Honestly, I suggest doing that from the beginning. If you just want to play the game and explore a world and have fun doing puzzles, again, that's your prerogative, and you can do that as much as you want. I think I did all of the puzzles I found. There's some I missed. I think that's the main downside of the gameplay, is once you've beaten the game, there's no real here's everything, because you have to manually find it. Whereas in the old Assassin's Creeds and Far Cry's, you would just go to your top point, you would do your view, and it'd be like, oh, here are all of these cool little things you can do. You kind of have to discover that in Fenyx. Whilst I like it, I wish there was a thing that'd be like, okay, and then this reveals all of them. Maybe I missed that, but I'm fairly certain I didn't. Or at least until Ubisoft updated the game and put that in. And then I'd be like, well, this is out of date. But it's cool. A lot of the customization for Fenyx is really great. You can make a male or female, non-binary. and it's really cool to see. Lots of cool, like, I ended up having my Phoenix with scar green hair, changed her eyes a couple of times, and yeah, I really embodied Phoenix. I thought she's a really great character. Which I guess leads us on to story, because I was really taken aback by this. Normally you kind of just go, it's an open world, I'm really playing for the world and the gameplay, the story's kind of secondary, but you're set up in an unreliable narrator setting with Zeus and not Poseidon, but Prometheus discussing the events of the game, which is really a good setup and kind of harkens into Greek mythology, where you take, like, a myth and legend is basically a story told over time and 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 becomes like this grandiose Zeus lightning bolt impregnating every sun under the soon moon. I don't know what that means. But yeah, so they have a lot of fun with that, and they basically made Zeus out to be the arsehole that he was, but in an endearing way. I think all of the characters you come across in this game are endearing, even Typhon, like, to a degree. So that's really nice, and Phoenix herself has a lot of spunk, has a lot of sass, and I really dig that. And it's not just, oh, I'm a witty superhero main protagonist. It's like, no, she's kind of got her doubts, but then she's like, boom, bravado. Especially the training montages with Hermes, it's like, it's one of my favourite little things, and always made me want to go and get more stamina stuff real fast. I can be like, yeah, I get to see them working out again. It's really fun. And I think endearing is the best term for it, because Phoenix is a great character. I played her as female, but I wonder how people, I genuinely, I don't know. So maybe the male version is a bit more bravado based. I don't know. I imagine the dialogue's the same no matter which way you dice it, but yeah, I had a great time. And the story kind of made some interesting choices as it progresses, and I was like, oh, didn't see that coming. There's obviously some twists and turns of the story. That's how you do narrative. That's how you keep the hook. But you end up meeting 4 gods, and you have to help them out. And basically they act to help you take down Typhon, and it's really cool. But Ares is by far the best god in the game. His introduction is probably one of the best introductions of a character in a video game since something out of Borderlands. Like, I genuinely loved it. It was great. Great setup, great reveal. I will not spoil it here. I genuinely think you should enjoy it for what it is. Aphrodite is a really interesting character. She's like, I thought she could be really one note, but like, as the game goes on and as you see these gods interact, I kind of dug it. I really dug it, and I love how you first meet Aphrodite as well. Athena is Athena. I did her last, and at that point I was kind of like, I just need to get through this, I want to finish this game. So I don't know whether that marred my opinion of her, or whether I didn't really jive with Athena too much. And then, I don't want to spoil the last one because it's rather unique. And you'll see why when you discover the god and how he is. Like, it's really fun, it's really quirky, and I enjoy it, and there's a lot of callbacks to him when you finally free him. It's really cool. So they're all engaging in their own right. Yes, there's like kind of copy-paste of, here are all the activities in this area, in this area, in this area. But I think it does it in a way that's rewarding, and I want to go and fight a giant Cerberus. That's what I want to do. Like, it's not I have to go and fight a Cerberus now. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go and fight Cerberus. Or finding Medusa. I remember discovering Medusa and being like, I was not ready for this. And then I beat her. And I was like, yeah, beat Medusa, man. And I think that's the coolest part of this game for me, mixing with the story and the gameplay, is being like, I'm a mythology nerd. I love Norse mythology. Hi, AC Valhalla, we'll talk about you another day. I love Greek mythology. I love Shintoism. I love all of the, like, basically, if it's in Smite, I have a huge fondness for it, because like, Smite is kind of my gateway drug to a lot of mythologies I didn't know. Obviously Greek mythology you learn in school, and Norse mythology is kind of just there, you kind of just know it. And the Marvel movies help with that as well. But yeah, like, so seeing all of these characters from legend and lore pop up, I'm just like, I know him. Oh, I know Icarus. Oh, I know Daedalus. Ooh, that's cool. And I guess that means this leads to this and this leads to this, and then it does lead to that, and it's like, oh, that's really cool. And it really does set up something really cool. I don't want to say it's the Immortals Gamermatic universe, but I think there's some real promise there, and I'm genuinely excited to see where the season pass takes us, because it's 3 different DLCs, very different, and I really, really look forward to seeing where that goes. I do want to see more of Immortals. And yeah, I think that covers it. I've talked about story, accessibility, and gameplay. I guess I can mention the Uplay stuff. That's kind of okay. It's Uplay. It's additional stuff. You can engage with it. You can not engage with it. It doesn't affect you too much either way. The microtransactions are cosmetic. You get 300 not Helix credits, because that's Assassin's Creed. I can't remember what they're called in Immortals, but yeah, I got the Adventure Time thing because I wanted Adventure Time. I wanted to look like Adventure Time. It's no big deal. I guess that is a gameplay aspect I should mention. Like, yes, your armor has gear stats, so you can pick which one you want, but you can customize it. Essentially, transmog without needing any needless items to transmog. So you can look however you want, and again, it just feeds back to this Phoenix is you, and you play him or her how you want to, and that's great. So yeah, I genuinely love this game. I wouldn't have spent 70 hours with it if I didn't love it. And I really do implore it. If you're a fan of Mythology, it's definitely worth picking up just to experience. If you're a fan of the Ubisoft game, which at this point you either are or you aren't, if you are, you're going to get a great time out of it. It's different from Assassin's Creed, it's more fantastical with its combat. And it's not guns, so it's not a Watch Dogs or a Far Cry. It's nice, refreshing pace. And yeah, it's got that exploration aspect that you kind of do have in Assassin's Creed, but it's kind of more free here. Like, I'm going to climb this giant statue. Do I have enough stamina? Do I have enough pots to make it? Yes, I do. Oh, cool, I'm just going to glide across the map. It's really cool. It's something unique, and I genuinely think if you're kind of on the fence about it, I'd definitely say take the punt and play it, because it's really fun. So to sum up, guys, I think if you're a fan of Mythology, if you're a fan of the Ubisoft type game, I think it's a definite you need to play it. If you're on the fence, you can easily wait for a sale, or you can just, based on my recommendation, you can pick it up and let me know what you think in the comments below. But I've been Scott Sedman. I've been the Guildmaster for London Plays Guild. This is our first review of 2021, and it's our first game review on the channel. So again, I want to give a thank you to Ubisoft for sending out that code. I hope we can work together more in the future. And yeah, guys, I hope you had a great holiday, and yeah, let us know what game you want to see next, because we will do it.